Today, I'm going to try to predict Metacritic scores for upcoming games in November 2025. This is a monthly video series that I do, so if you're into predicting things, you're into following Metacritic scores, anything of the sort, then follow along for more. Two things to establish off the top, as always. Number one, I understand Metacritic is not the all-in, be-all of game scores. It's not that big of a deal. We just do this for fun. Don't take it super serious. And number two, if I miss any games, which I probably will, drop a comment down below, call me an idiot, tell me the game I missed, and I'll try to predict it in the comments down below as well. Here's how I did for last month for anyone keeping track. Oh, honestly, not a terrible month. I definitely had some notable misses with the two monster games of Digimon and Pokemon. I feel like those are a little bit off. That's a good little bit off in my opinion. But hey, we had a lot across the board that were really close. So you know what? We'll take the dubs where we can get the dubs. I will say November feels like a light month for gaming, at least based on the list that I've got going for today's video. There's more than likely a lot of games that I just missed and I didn't see either on Metacritic or like the 2025 Video Games Wikipedia page, which are the two sites that I use to get my list together. There's probably something that I missed that's pretty notable, but it feels like a light month, at least in my opinion. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes. We did just have an unbelievably packed October, so I guess it does make sense that November might be a little bit more on the lighter side. With all that said, do all the normal things content creators say to do, and let's jump into the predicting. For today's video, let's kick things off on November 5th with Sonic Rumble, which was previously delayed. That was supposed to come out a few months back. This is like the Fall Guys Sonic game. I don't expect a high score for this. This is going to be one of those fun little party games on mobile or Steam or whatever all platforms coming out. I know it's on mobile and other stuff, but we're going to say 74. Again, I don't see a high score coming out of this. It could even be lower. It could be like 68. It's just going to be one of those fun little party games. You'll get your little bit of enjoyment out of it every once in a while. It's nothing super serious. On November 6th, we have one of, I feel like, the headlining games of the month with Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Now, I did just see this week that there are apparently some demo stations set up in like Walmart or Target or something like that. And for the people who've gotten a chance to play it, apparently it runs incredible. It's a lot of fun, which I would hope so. You know, first like Warriors, not first, you know, Hyrule Warriors game on the Switch 2. You know, we know how much the Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity suffered on the Switch 1. So I am looking forward to seeing the score on this one. I'm feeling like an 81, which is around the same range as like the other scores. They score about 78, 79 range is about normal. Warriors games never really blow things out of the water, but I don't know. I feel 81 feels pretty good for this one. I feel like the game, you know, any sort of like enhancements with the Switch 2 is going to maybe help its case a little bit. I don't know, but you know, it's like I said, it's one of like the headlining games of the month, at least in my opinion. Also on the 6th, we have a game called Of Ash and Steel. This is an open world RPG, fantasy RPG. It looks fine. It looks like one of those titles that you can pick up and have some enjoyment out of. I'm kind of feeling like a 78. You know, I don't think it's going to be one that's going to set the world on fire. I could be wrong and it could come in at like an 85, but I feel like it just, from the trailer that I watched, I feel like it could just be a really fun, like fantasy, like, you know, entry title, you know, RPG, open world title that you can just pick up, get your level of enjoyment out of and kind of move on. But, you know, either way, we're going to go with a 78. On the 10th, we have the newly announced Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition, which this should get a Metacritic score, I think. If it doesn't, then it is what it is. Let's just say like 86, 87, 88, 89, somewhere in that range. I don't know. I'll say 86. I mean, it's Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is beloved to some extent for people. I know there are people that will be looking forward to this anniversary edition. I don't know if he'll get a Metacritic score because I don't know if it'll be reviewed that much because at the end of the day, it's not like it's a remake or anything. It's just kind of a re-release, whatever, with some enhancements. But, yeah, I mean, if it gets a score, let's say 86. I don't know. On the 12th, I don't think it will get a Metacritic score, but we're going to do Winter Burrow. I wanted to go ahead and shout this one out because one of my co-hosts at Gamesthetic, John, has actually been really looking forward to this game from when it originally got revealed at, man, was it this past Xbox Game Showcase or was it the one from last year? I honestly don't remember, but it was one of them, and it was a game that he walked away from actually pretty excited for. So I don't know if it's going to get a Metacritic score. It's one of those kind of smaller titles. It is listed on Metacritic, but that doesn't mean it will guarantee get a score. You know what? I'm going to manifest good things from my buddy John. We're going to say an 83. I have no idea if it's going to hit there, but we're trying to manifest for him. I got you, buddy. We're going to say 83. On the 13th, we have Anno 117 Pax Romana, a new entry to the Anno franchise, to the Anno property. And this one is apparently being kind of held up pretty solidly, where it got like best new like PC game at like Gamescom or something like that coming out. You know, there's definitely some excitement there from what I've seen amongst the industry. These games kind of score just fine across the board. This could potentially be the title that kind of shifts them a little bit higher on scores than normal, or at least I think they're about average scores. I don't know. Let's do a cut here and find out. All right, yeah, I was right. They are about average scores, the highest one coming in at 83. So hopefully this one could potentially be the one to kind of shift to the next level. I've got 81 as my official prediction, but you know, who knows? Maybe it could come in at 85. I could see that too. But either way, there does seem to be a lot of excitement around this release. So big shout out to that. Also on the 13th, we have Inazuma 11 Victory Road, a new entry to this franchise, which also scores about average across the board. I'm going to say a 78 on this one. I don't know, it just kind of feels right. Could potentially go a little bit lower, but that feels like it's in the range of what this property usually hits. Then on the 14th, we have Where Winds Meet, which this is going to be the NA and EU release for us, and it will be getting a Metacritic score, assuming that people do review it and score it. This is a free-to-play, online-only, open-world action RPG set in a 10th century China. Everything that I've seen about this game, people are saying go play the game. Like it's a great game. I've seen people talk about how they've dumped over 1,000 hours into the game and just having a great time. So you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. This is gonna probably be one of those games that John's gonna play. You know, John loves his free to play online only, as he calls it, slop. I'm not gonna call this game slop because it does not look like slop, but he loves his free to play online only games that he calls his free to play slop. Which again, this one's not slop, but this is one that he's probably going to play at some point. Everything about it from the initial like reveal that it's coming out for us has looked really cool. All the reception I have seen around it has been super positive. I don't think I'll necessarily set the world on fire with its score, so I'm thinking maybe like an 83 and around in that range. But you know, who knows, maybe it could come up to an 85. But overall, the positivity around the game has been very noticeable, to say the least. On the 15th, we have the full release of Escape from Tarkov. So this will mean that it can get a Metacritic score, and with the title that it is being Escape from Tarkov, it probably will get a Metacritic score. At least that's my guess. So I don't know. I'm going to kind of shoot high. I'm not an Escape from Tarkov player by any means. I don't really follow the game too much. Besides, it has its dedicated fan base. It is a lasting tower in the extraction shooter genre, while the rest are kind of so-so or kind of misses. Let's say 87 for people that play Escape from Tarkov. Am I off on that horribly, or is that potentially where it could score? That's going to be my guess. That's what this is about. It's predicting. I'm just throwing out random predictions for some of these, but no, it's finally getting its full release. So I guess we will. I guess we'll see how it goes. On the 18th, we have Marvel's Deadpool VR, which I'm very upset. This is a VR game. Wish we could have just had a new Marvel's Deadpool. That'd be cool. I don't know. Let's say 77. I don't know, man. VR has been steadily improving. I will say that. So I mean, that's a big kudos, but it's still, even after all these years, I still feel like we're in like an awkward stage of VR where it's not maximized to its fullest potential, but we're continuously growing. The game continuously look better. The gameplay continuously looks better. It's constantly improving. I don't know. I'll just say 77 for this one. Hopefully it's good. We'll see. On the 18th as well, we have SpongeBob SquarePants Titans of the Tide 69. I don't know. It's a SpongeBob game. Kids will enjoy it. I don't know. Move on. On the 19th, we have Demon School, which is a new tactics RPG that's coming out where you basically manage between university life and demons on a mysterious island. I'm going to go ahead and say it up front. This is going to be a game that Zach will probably check out at some point. Might be a game that I check out at some point because I enjoy tactics games. But I don't know. The trailers that I saw, I thought looked kind of cool. I kind of dig the art style. I kind of mess with it. So I'm kind of hoping for a decent score on this, or at least like a positive score. You know, let's get in the green. I'm feeling 79, 79, 80. Let's lock in 79. I'm hoping for at least a solid score on this because I thought it looked cool. I like the art style for it. The concept seems kind of interesting. So I'm hoping for something pretty positive here. We'll see. Then on the 20th, we have, in my opinion, probably the other headlining game of the month. That is Kirby Air Riders, which Sakurai has put everything into this game. He's put his entire heart and soul into this game. So I'm going to hope for the best. And I'm going to say an 89. You know, it's at the end of the day, it is a racing game. It's Kirby Air Riders in this case. Those kind of float in the 80s for where they score. I think we saw that in Mario Kart World. It might have come in at like a 93. I don't remember. It might have dropped down to like an 80 something. I genuinely don't remember. But Kirby Air Riders is one that just for, I guess, kind of like how to an extent emotional soccer I got talking about in this latest direct. And when I say emotional, I mean just like really laying it out there of, listen, I put everything I got into this thing. I'm going to hope it's going to score really well, because obviously he's devoted so much of his career to Super Smash Brothers that he hasn't got a chance to do a lot of the things that he actively wants to do, starting off his career with a lot of like creating Kirby and doing a lot of other projects there. And then when Smash came around, that was the rest of his career, essentially, with a few pit stops here or there, like with with Kid Icarus Uprising, for example, and now Kirby Air Riders. He doesn't get a chance to do a lot of stuff outside Smash these days. So I really hope it's going to score well. So I'm feeling that 89. I'm trying to manifest here. It does look like a lot of fun. It's probably going to be one of the best Switch 2 titles to launch this year in terms of a complete, polished game, because he did say there's no DLC. Everything's there. This is the game. No sequel. This is it. Go play it. Go enjoy it. So hopefully it's going to be a banger. Hopefully it's going to be just a lot of fun with friends and family or whatever. Manifesting for a high score here. Also on the 20th, we have a game called Neon Inferno. This is an upcoming 2D cyberpunk-like action game. It's side-scrolling, plus like gallery shooting type gameplay. It looks really unique. I really mess with the art style. I think it looks pretty cool. Trying to manifest here. I'm going to say a 79 if it gets a score. I'm not sure if it will, but I do think it looks pretty cool. So I'm going to say a 79. On the 21st, we have Terrifier, the arcade game. I have no idea what to expect here. Genuinely, no clue, no concept of what to expect out of this game in terms of what it could potentially score. I'm just gonna say an 81. I have no idea, okay? I don't know. I'm saying 81 because it's got art in the title. And that belonged to, 81 was the number that Art Monk wore, and he was a great receiver. So we're gonna say 81. I have no idea. I have no context here. And the last game that I've got for today's video on November 25th, we have AILA. This is a first-person horror game that I came across while forming the list for today's video that I thought just sounded and looked really cool. I actually want to read you the description off Steam. So it is AILA is a first-person horror game set in a near future filled with immersive technology. Play as the sole game tester for a revolutionary new AI. Survive intense horror experiences that prey on your deepest fears as the lines between virtual and reality begin to blur. I think the concept sounds really cool. The videos that I've seen on it look really sick and kind of just super spooky, trippy, kind of all over the place. So I'm kind of manifesting here this game may pop off. So let's say an 82. I feel like that's a pretty solid score for this game that not a lot of people are talking about. There is a demo out for it now on Steam that you can check out. I thought it just looked really cool. I'm gonna probably end up picking this game up at some point. I'm excited to check it out, and hopefully it scores well. So what are your thoughts on any of the predictions that I did? Did I get anything horribly off? Am I kind of on point? What's your thoughts on some of the games? Like, I feel like, again, November is kind of a lackluster month this upcoming month, but we did just have a packed October. Is there stuff I'm forgetting? More than likely. And if there is, let me know. Let me know that, hey, Alex, this particular game that you may not have heard of is really going to pop off and everyone's talking about it and you're just an idiot and you didn't see it, because that's very possible. I have no idea, brother. So just let me know, and I will try to predict it down in the comments below. But anyway, if you made it all the way to the end, I appreciate the hell out of you. Hopefully you stop by Gamesthetic sometime and watch Gamesthetic. We're usually live almost every single Saturday around like 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. We'd love to see you in the chat, and let's chat it up while we talk about games and the latest and greatest and the not latest and greatest of the gaming industry. So we'd love to see you there. And also, if you want to support us further, Patreon's a great way to do so. Link down in the description below. Like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord. I think that's it. Get out of here. We're done.